They have arrived from all over the country. The athletes and also their friends and families gathering to make it a loud day here at Glendevere Golf Course in Portland, Oregon. The celebration and the culmination of a great season of cross country at the high school level. It is the Nike Cross Nationals event once again here in Portland, Oregon. The crowd getting excited and ready. We're trying to stay dry under rainy conditions here in Western Oregon, but we welcome you underneath the tent for our coverage today. Hello, everybody. I'm Paul Swangart, joined by Rich Gonzalez, and pretty much the only guy qualified to be on this dais. That would be Chris Derrick, who ran in this event several years ago. And guys, you know, a couple of days ago, the opening ceremony, we talked about the strength of not only the teams that are here, but also the individuals who are here. This is truly the best field ever.
It definitely is. I mean, if I told you that in about 33 minutes, we're going to have the best field ever, team-wise, individual-wise, in one place at one time, taking place right behind us. A total of 29 state team champions, 73 state individual champions, both all-time records for any meet anywhere.
And Chris, you have that context. They were saying that, you know, those teams in the early days, you know, even the teams that won some of those early championships would be hard-pressed to be winning this year based on the depth we've seen.
Absolutely. I think as I've looked through the results of this year and I look at teams that are having all-time years in their states and maybe aren't even expecting to be on the podium, it's extremely impressive. On the individual side, I mean, I think the anticipation has been building ever really since that great Arcadia race in the spring where we had Nico Young and Cole Sprout, 840, 841. And now we get to see them face off against multiple state record holders from other states.
Yeah, we have the boys race first this year, followed by the girls race. So we'll start with our preview of the boys competition. And we'll start, Rich, in the California region, and that's really where the excitement emanates for that team championship.
This is the best set of teams California has ever brought to Nike Cross Nationals. The number 3 team, Dana Point, is probably, as far as at-large teams, the one with the most momentum coming in. They've been here 4 times in the past. This group right here has a great 1-2 punch in Jay Dawson and Carrick Denker. Could be a top 10 team this weekend.
And Chris, experience matters in an event like this, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and I mean Dana Point has some history at this event. Newbury Park and Temecula, the 2 other California teams, both with a lot of experience. Newbury only has come one time before, but from their 6th place team last year, they return almost everybody.
And Rich, Temecula, a 2015 champion, runner-up a year ago. What are they going to need to win this one this year?
They need to have everybody come through. They've been inconsistent, but they're so deep, they always cover those losses. They have a 1-2 punch of Gabe Abbs, Chris Verdugo. The thing about them is their depth. Last year, they surprised themselves by finishing 2nd. Surprised because they were injured last year, a couple of kids. 2 kids really stepped up, Mateo Joseph and John Worthy, and put them on the podium.
And the athletes certainly ready to run today, and also excited for the possibilities of a title is their coach, Doug Souls.
Well, we've got 5 seniors in it, and you know, these guys have been shooting for this goal since they were 14 years old, and I think a lot of them were 8th graders when we won in 2015. So they came into a program that was the reigning national champions, and I think it's just been something that they've set as a goal for a long time, and you know, excited to go after one last time here.
And that 3rd team in the equation is Newbury Park, and they've got an interesting narrative because they've got one of the strongest individual runners, who we'll talk about in a moment, but they're, as a team, very strong this year, Chris.
Yeah, well, Nico Young, obviously, favorite is their number 1 guy. They have the best 1-2 punch in the country, and that gives them a little bit of cushion because up front, the scoring's pretty thin, so those guys can be a few seconds off and they won't lose too many points. For me, the key idea for them is momentum because they finished 6th last year with a really young team. Not often you actually come back and get that improvement you expected, but they went up, they had a big camp in Big Bear this summer, and each kid is about 30 to 40 seconds better. They're really strong. They did lose once earlier in the year to Temecula, but they've been coming on really well late in the season. They won the California Merge at the California State Meet.
So we'll hear from their coach now, and Sean Brosnan.
Our front 2, I think, are going to be in the front of that race. My 1-2 is pretty, I say a powerful 1-2 punch, but everyone from there, they're going to have to get used to running with 50, 60 guys around them at all times. They know it. I've been talking about it all week, actually for months now, coming into this, that they got to expect it's going to be a lot different. You know, our state meet, we put 4 guys in the top 10. That's not going to happen tomorrow, or Saturday rather, so it's a matter of them just, you know, being conscious of everyone and understanding that everybody counts and, you know, keep trucking. Sometimes 70th place could help us. Take all the individuals out. That might help us on a team score, so they got to know that.
So on the team side, you got to think about that, take all the individuals out. But for this team, their individuals, we look at the individuals out of the California region, is one of our favorites, Nico Young.
Yeah, definitely. He has been phenomenal in California, actually, since the last year on the track also. And the thing with him is most of his races, he has actually been holding back while he's been pummeling course records. This might be the best kid we've ever seen out of California in the last 25 years. Phenomenal talent.
Absolutely. I mean, Nico just incredibly impressive, and you can tell kind of with this whole team, he's riding the wave a little bit. I think that happens sometimes, especially for young kids, where training just really clicks. It's not coming easy because you're working hard, but all that hard work is immediately transferring into results, and that's the vibe I get watching Nico Young.
He's definitely excited to be here. A couple days ago, we were able to catch up with him, looking ahead to what's ahead of him today here at Glendevere.
I think I probably should have gone sooner, but I think I did a pretty good job of when I went, but I just I guess wasn't able to stay with them at the end. But I think this year I'll have a new race plan. Yeah, I think you just have to be prepared for every outcome and every possibility that will happen in the race. And I kind of think that as a team we prepare for that really well, and our coach prepares us for that too. So.
A lot of lessons can be learned from previous experiences here, and that you just kind of have to roll with that experience and bring a new perspective coming into 2019.
Definitely. They're very well coached, very well prepared, so you can bet they really have covered any type of scenario coming in. And again, he has the wheels, he has the engine.
They get a chance to, again, celebrate this culmination of such a great and long season in they get a chance to, again, celebrate this culmination of such a great and long season in
could be in for a huge surprise.
And Rich, what about Elmhurst?
Elmhurst, okay, so the very first Nike Cross Nationals back then, Nike Team Nationals, they ended up actually winning this event. They were so dominant the first decade of NXN in terms of getting here. This is their first appearance since 2012, so it's a whole new batch, new coach, new kids, new faces. They're trying to get back in that front. This is a pretty good set of teams from the Midwest region, though.
And along with that, Wheaton South.
Yep, Wheaton South, just a really strong team all year long. They were only 4 points behind St. Charles at the Illinois 3A state meet. I would say another team that projects is just a really nice, 30-second pack. I don't know how high they're going to start the scoring, but once they start it, it's going to come hot and heavy.
So that's a look at the teams on the Midwest region side, and they do have a couple of star power type of athletes on the individual side that have been invited here to Glendoveer Golf Course, and it includes Josh Methner, who just broke a 47-year-old Craig Virgin record at his state meet.
I want to know why this person didn't have the course record. That's what I want to know. No, actually,
why are you pointing at me?
Detweiler Park in Peoria, Illinois has always been a lot of great runners over the years there. That record you mentioned, Craig Virgin's been around for a while. Methner's been quite a talent this year. He's coming in. He looked pretty much focused talking a couple days ago, and he's going to be one of those kids that should be in the top. Some people feel he's the best runner in the field. There's no question he should be in the top 6. We'll see how he closes out the race.
You think he can win it?
I think he can, but I do wonder a little bit about his speed at the end. I think he maybe projects more as being, say, the top freshman in NCAA Cross next year. But great kid, happy to see him get that record, and to do so in the Bowerman Track Club Mamba Spikes. So you know he's a good kid.
He is a good kid, and we had a chance to catch up with him a couple of days ago as he looks forward to his opportunity here today.
Yeah, I think that was definitely me being a little immature because I felt really good at that point. I was like, I think I was lined up with everyone. I was like, all right, I'll just go to the front for a little bit, maybe string out a few guys that maybe don't have that capacity to hang on. So I did that, and then with the Cade to go, I think, if I'm remembering right, I died off a little bit. So I'm just trying to stay smooth, stay with the leaders, and not overdo it before Cade to go.
So talking about his experience last year, and that is a real challenge for these athletes because they all are used to running near the front of the pack, and then you come to a place like this where everyone wants to run at the front of the pack, and that could be a dangerous decision, right?
As my old college teammate Haken DeVries used to say, good guys take a long time to die. And so rarely is it just one move that's going to win you a race like this, especially with how good this field is. You're going to need to have multiple attacks, multiple moves to make. And I think Josh, maybe he just went a little bit too early last year.
We'll look forward to seeing what Josh can do here in the race in 2019 as we transition now from the Midwest down to the South region. Rich?
The South region, primarily the teams from Texas are the ones that really show the best here year in and year out. 3 teams in this year. The third team at large, Eastwood, out of El Paso. Last year they came in for the first time, finished a distant 22nd. All the kids are back this year, so looking to go ahead and redeem themselves. They were the 5A state champions in their unofficial merge at the state meet. They were the top team in Texas, but they had a bit of a problem at the state meet and still had to get in just barely as an at-large, our last at-large team in the field.
Yeah, there are 2 squads. We'll start with the Woodlands.
Yeah, the Woodlands, Texas, both Woodlands and Carroll are powerhouses, perennials in the South region out of the state of Texas. This year, the Woodlands was very consistent. They've had some problems in the past at the regional meet. This year, they came through. From my hearing within the camp, they kind of surprised themselves in a bit, but they have some real horses in the pack. Ethan Ham is one of the top kids as well. And then up front, Carroll, they're the regional champion. They have been here at NXN more than any other program as far as combined genders over the years. This is one of their best teams, the 6A state champions from Texas. They're led by Solomon Chavez.
So that's a look at the teams from the South region. We also have some strong individuals as well, and we'll lead off with Ryan Shoppy.
You know, I think everyone talks about Nico Young, and the kid who can really knock him off is Ryan Shoppy. This kid is the real deal. And last year at the Texas State meet in track and field, came out and he ran 4:35 in the first 1,600 and 3,200, closed there in 4:17, 2:02, 58, has some real wheels. He really doesn't get challenged much, but when he does, he slams the door with authority. This weekend, he may be the one that people are going to say, where did he come from?
And that racing style, big negative split, exactly what he displayed at the region. I kind of looked at the results beforehand. I see this pretty big win. Watch the video. It's big pack, big pack, big pack. And all of a sudden, just in the last mile, he blasted away from everyone. So I would expect he's going to wait a decent amount before he tries to make his move.
Yeah, hard-pressed to think that any individual will have that kind of gap we just saw on that B-roll of him winning at the regional event to get his ticket punched to NXN here in 2019. Moving up to the New York region now as we look at the squads that will join us here at Glendevere Golf Course, and we start with Burnt Hills.
So Burnt Hills took third in the Class B championship in New York at the state meet. Ryan Allison, he was third in that race. They actually had 2 All-Staters, also Real Marchant. He was 8th in that region.
And Chris, we have Manlius here. We normally talk about the girls from Manlius, 11 times the Nike Cross Nationals champions, but the boys have been here before, and they're strong and considered a contender.
The boys have been here before, and they have won here before. And I think given the incredible dominance of their girls program, the boys program is overlooked at times. But again, they're bringing a very strong team, just like they had last year when they were in the top 5.
So Manlius is our other New York squad on the team side as we transition now to talk about some of the New York individuals. Rich?
Pretty good field of individuals from New York. One better than usual, I would say. Leading the pack is a Class B champion from the state of New York, Sam Lawler. He's one that could project in the top 25 in the field. From there, everyone else is going to try and actually just break through and be in the top 40, 45 in that field.
Well, as we continue our preview here of the 2019 Nike Cross Nationals, we welcome in those who are on site at Glendevere Golf Course. We continue with the Northwest region, where they don't think this weather is anything unusual for a cross-country meet, and they have always had strong contingents, particularly some of the local squads, and we have Portland Cross Country here with us this year.
Yep, and this is where I could really monologue for a while. A lot of the guys on the Portland Cross Country squad, they were Bowen Track Club youth kids. Here has that special feeling, and I think that's what makes this so great, because people in high school, they're not just finding themselves as athletes, but as individuals, and you can kind of see the culmination of that here at Nike Cross Nationals.
Well, and on the girls' side, Central Oregon, the reigning champions, we'll talk about them as a possibility of another win here in 2019. West Kennewick, another Northwest squad representing here locally.
They don't have the same kind of name pop as some of the programs that are here from other parts of the country, but this thing is a sleeping giant. They're a team I think that can surprise a lot of squads this weekend. I see them as surprising some and being in the top 5 as well. Led by Isaac Steeples, a state champion. Again, they have dominated. They were the Washington State 3A champs this year.
Let's hear from West Kennewick's coach now, Mark Rexis, about their prospects here for 2019.
They work as hard as any group I've ever had, and they probably have, on the side, they probably have just as much fun or more fun than any group I've ever had. So I think they've found a way to be serious when they need to be serious, but also to relax enough not to make it drudgery. And, I think there's a fine line. Honestly, I think I used to get them up too tight before the state meet, and we finally started watching comedies the night before the state meet, and they've been running a lot better at those big races. So
the Matt Rexis secret to good coaching, good comedies the night before a competition.
Yeah, we used to, before the state meet, we'd kind of go around. We were a little bit more sentimental. We'd go around and just talk about our favorite memories from the year. And they generally tended towards the goofy, but there were some heartfelt moments in there.
So as we look to the individuals in the Northwest, there's an intriguing athlete coming out of Southern Oregon, E.J. Holland, who's done everything he could do this year to prepare for this race today.
Yeah, EJ has had an awesome season, an incredible run at the Oregon State meet. He was at top 15 here last year, and I talked to him after that race, and I was kind of like, wow, man, you ran so great, and he was actually a little disappointed that he wasn't in that top 10, and that kind of told me everything I needed to know about his determination. I think he has a pretty level head on his shoulders, although he is going to Oregon, so judgment, no one's perfect, especially at age 18.
And Nathan Green also out of the Northwest.
Definitely. He could be the one that is going to be making the big move for next year. He's only a junior, and he's one that I think could go ahead and hang with some of these top individuals. He's a great talent from his neck of the woods for sure.
They will certainly be benefiting from a partisan crowd here in Portland as those individuals out of the Northwest region contesting for the Nike Cross National individual title. On to the Northeast region now as we look at the squads coming out of the upper corner of the great United States. And we'll start, Rich, with Lincroft Cross Country.
Yeah, Lincroft, and they've been for several times before. They've been a powerhouse from New Jersey. This is a group that they always tend to be toward the middle of the pack. They actually do quite well here. They're, of course, used to these conditions right here. I think they get quite well motivated by being in the shadow of some of the teams in their neighboring states. But they'll be a team that represents very well right here.
And a neighboring state also here, Rhode Island.
Yeah, the Rhode Island squad is really strong. They finished third at Great American behind Temecula, who we've already talked about, and Percival, who is the two-time defending champion. They've really come on strong at the end of the year. They could very well challenge for a podium with the way they've been running at their state and regional meets.
So those are the two squads out of that Northeast region. As we look at some of the individual qualifiers, Jack Jennings stands out among a very large list of individual and at-large qualifiers, 8 in total out of the region.
That's the most we've ever had from a single region in a single year. Again, Jack Jennings, you mentioned him. He actually ran last weekend at a foot block regional meet, ran really well there. Also in the field this weekend, we've got Henry Farrington. He's the Vermont state champion. The Groups 4 champion from New Jersey, Jackson Braddock. Lissandro Barry-Guevara as well, but Liam Murphy is the class of the field in that group. It should be both Jennings and Murphy could easily be in that top 10 and trying to muscle in the way to the big 6 that we project at the front of the pack.
So those are the individuals, again, the largest group of individuals out of any one region for Nike Cross Nationals. Out of the Northeast region, we go from Northeast down to the Southwest. Always brings a lot of talent, and we've seen some champions out of this region in the past, and this year's group on the team side led by Littleton.
Yes, so in recent years, we've seen the Southwest region make a really nice jump as a region. In some years, be the most powerful region in the country, which has surprised some teams. The teams from Colorado, from Utah, you mentioned the third place team, Littleton of Colorado, the Colorado State 5A champions, also in the mix, and they're led by Connor Olson, one of the members of the Nike Elite Camp this past summer. And second place team in that region, Denver of Colorado as well. They were second in the Colorado 5A state meet. Harrison Witt is their top individual. He actually came through after having a bit of a subpar race at the state meet, performed very well at the regional meet in the Midwest.
And Chris, what about Draper as being part of this mix?
Yeah, Draper, a very strong team. We think one of 4 teams who's a real contender for the win. Curiously enough, Easton Allred, who's on their team, was on the Denver team last year at this race. I don't think they've quite put together their best race yet. I think if you were to combine the potential of their team, they could have a performance very similar to what Percival did last year. 3 guys in like the 8 through 15 range in the team score, and a pretty tight 1 through 5 split off of that. We haven't seen it yet, so they don't get to be as big of a favorite as, say, Temecula, who's been doing it all year. But a very strong team, very much in contention.
Let's hear from Draper's coach, Devin Moody, as they prepare for Nike Cross Nationals this year.
I think it's partially the tone of the team as a whole, not just those 7 athletes, but the 50 boys that we have on our team right now. There's such a high energy and a great work ethic across the board. I think it's propelled all of those boys, these 7 here today, to kind of get them to a mindset that's really, really tough and competitive.
Tough and competitive through that region, and now tough and competitive at the highest level here at Nike Cross Nationals. You mentioned Easton Allred as we look at some of the individuals here making that switch of allegiance, but still one of the big talents coming out of the Southwest region.
Yeah, this is the best region in terms of individuals. You mentioned Easton already. He's a kid who was 22nd as a sophomore here, just missed All-American last year. He's got that magic touch around him in a sense, and again, that front 4 that they have in that squad is outstanding. Cruz Culpepper, the offspring of 2 parents, are both Olympians, and he's got great leg speed, 4:04, 82 for the full mile. People think of him more as a cross-country talent. As a track and field talent. Cross-country-wise, last year he missed his meet because he was injured. They've actually changed the schedule, trying to go for a backload and coming in strong. Talking to his dad recently, he's very, very fit. He could surprise some people.
And Chris Colesprout, our top returnee from last year.
Colesprout, just a tremendous athlete. I think the Nico Young coming out so strong, I think is going to be overshadowed just how incredible he is. I mean, when Nico ran 8:40, he was dragged there by Colesprout. He ran 8:41 and led almost that whole race. He hasn't looked really that much better than he did last year, but as we see in this video, last year he nearly won the race. He tried to challenge Liam Anderson up these steep hills at the finish, faded a little bit in the home stretch. I think he has a pretty good kick generally, and I hope this year he kind of waits to use it to the very, very end.
Yeah, he'll have to learn that lesson from that hill from a year ago, and maybe he'll run a different kind of race. He thinks he's got a chance to win today.
I think for the most part I was pretty happy with how I kind of went about the race, but I could have maybe sat a little bit more and then kicked. But you never know. It's always kind of a guessing game of what works and what doesn't. Like the last little step up, that's kind of where I felt it the most, where I kind of fell off. So A lot of this year was just kind of focused on making sure I was a little bit stronger on that last little hill before the finish.
So Cole Sprout trying to learn that lesson from a year ago, one of our top individuals coming out of that Southwest region. From the Southwest to the Southeast, when we talk about teams, it includes our now two-time champion Purcellville, but we'll start with Crozet, the other squad out of that region.
Yeah, they actually dominated thoroughly. And we have a lot of teams here that basically are the big dog in their state. This is one case right here. Scored a perfect 15 points in Virginia in Class 3. Both of our qualifiers here are from the state of Virginia. They actually had 4 kids in the top 10 to earn all state honors.
And what about our defending champions? Can they win a third one in a row?
I definitely think so. I think on paper they have a little bit of ground to make up, but we've seen in the past they actually come in very well focused for this race, talking with their coach on Thursday. He thinks they are actually, in his mind, in their minds, the favorites, and they are very well prepared. They know what the task at hand is. They really feel really good about their situation because people are talking about the other teams, and they want to come here and make a statement.
And that can be used as motivation, can it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a little New England Patriots-y to be no one believes us when we're two-time defending champions, but that works for them. And I think they maybe don't show as strong on paper as they are because their number 2 guy who beat Temecula's number 2 at Great American, he really struggled at the regional meet. Apparently, he just had a bloody nose he couldn't stop. So they've been pumping him up all week, telling him he's going to rebound with a vengeance. And bring the blood and iron to the rest of the field.
Well, the Hunter boys no longer part of the squad, but the Hunter parents still leading the coaching.
We always brag about the character of the kid and the parents and the families, and I think that's just going to pull them through again. A lot of things go wrong. They have to deal with a lot of when you meet like this. They deal with a lot of things you don't see all year, and so you have to be able to compartmentalize it, control it. And deal with it. And we're always talking about control your emotions, and I think if you do, you're going to save a lot of that potential wasted energy for the race itself. And again, like Joan said, I think they have drawn on the past teams and the advice and the success of the teams, and how can they not be confident? So you just have to execute the race plan.
Have the benefit of the girls team that is here as a qualifier on the girls race. We'll talk about them more in a moment. Talk about these individuals out of the Southeast region quickly. Carla Schultz is one of the lead guys out of this group.
Yeah, Carl's a bit of an unsung hero for last year's team in a sense. They were basically one guy away to winning the title. He came through, made the difference, and now he's a front runner, the state champion, and the one basically carrying the banner. A lot of turnover on the team. There are only 2 individuals back from that group.
And Graham Blanks?
Graham Blanks, he was dominating over the state of Georgia. He really, really did a great job throughout, handling any challenge in traveling as well. He's one that he has, in my opinion, very little name recognition, but that should change this weekend.
Well, that's a preview of all the squads, all the individuals for this year's edition of Nike Cross Nationals here at Glendoveer Golf Course. And now we talk about what's in front of them, which is this beautiful course, which normally is where people go chase their little white ball around for 18 holes. But what makes this such a nice track for this event?
It's an honest course. It's not, I think some kids in this field are used to running on flat courses. This one is changing terrain. They've got a bit of the back loop back of the course that begins to separate individuals. We've talked about the terraces, which is that last little double climb at the very end. We've seen that break individuals in the past.
Yeah, and I think the course is really made by those hills down there at about 1.5 miles. They're going to be a mild uphill first K, then they just kind of drift down as that adrenaline's wearing off and the fatigue starts to set in, and then you get to the low point of the course. You have to take 2 big hills and then a long gradual drag up, and that's, I think, in the boys' race where we tend to see things break apart.
And on a day like today where rain has been steady for most of the night into the day, any advantage for the boys being out on the course first this year?
Depends if you're a mudder or not. I think those boys from St. Charles would prefer to be second. But absolutely, the course is going to be a little nicer for them. It hasn't rained too much this week, but obviously it's coming down now.
And you look at Dana Point getting in their final strides. We, talk about kids coming from other regions where these conditions aren't necessarily part of their normal repertoire, but you come out of the California region, do these guys think this weather is going to matter to them at all?
Not at all. I think in the early years of NXM, we did see teams that were adversely affected. Nowadays, you've seen teams that adapt mentally, and in a sense also the teams that are here have been here before, so they're used to, they know what to expect.
And Chris, in these final moments, put yourself into that competitor's mindset. What are you trying to do to kind of keep yourself within the moment, knowing what you're about to do?
For me, these moments are always surreal because you've been thinking about the race for so long, and especially, in the final week, you're just like, bring the race here, bring the race here, bring the race here. And then you get there the 5 minutes before, and you're kind of, it's almost like, am I even going to take that first step? But then once the gun goes off, that's when the instincts kick in. That's when hopefully you can use all those nerves that have been building up and put them to positive good, as opposed to maybe negatively affecting your sleep the night before.
Well, this is truly a great celebration of distance running in the United States, and for the benefit of the crowd here at Glendoveer Golf Course and also those watching around the world on our webcast, we are going to step aside now and allow Natalie Carell to sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see? Stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Natalie Carell with the singing of the national anthem. As the ceremonies are over, the introductions have been done, and now we get into the 31 boxes for the start of the boys' race of the 2019 Nike Cross Nationals. Rich, final thoughts before we let them go?
Yeah, definitely. So all-time mark, Ryan Shoppy, who's just been out of mind in Texas. All these kids finally coming together. There's so much talent beyond the top 10, beyond the top 12, trying to break in. We've never seen anything at the high school level on a single day on a single course like today.
And Chris, we've been talking about it all week long, and in the conversations with coaches and with athletes and with parents and fans, this is truly the greatest era of distance running. You, as an elite athlete, have a part of that because you create aspirations for these folks, but these folks are pretty inspirational at the depth we see right now at the high school level.
It's really just an incredible meet, an incredible experience. One of my favorite weekends of the year, and after digging into the spreadsheets, trying to figure out who's the favorites, blah, 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 now they get to settle it on the course.
There we go.
As we'll walk our way down all the boxes here, still some smiles, a lot of nerves, some confidence built into some of these squads as well. They've all come here to Glendoveer Golf Course in Portland, Oregon, to battle with the best, to be the best in the 2019 Nike Cross National.
Temecula, out of the Southwest region, Draper of Colorado. These teams using different formulas, different recipes for success. We'll see which one works here today. And again, it's so important to try and go ahead and be really well aware of the number of individuals in the front that are actually, and there are defending champions right there, Purcellville. Also Eastwood, second time back from the state of Texas at El Paso.
Love the vibe from Eastwood. They were telling me last night how they really want to inspire a part of the country that isn't necessarily known for.
And the gun is off in the 2019 Nike Cross Nationals. Boys race is underway.
Again, 204 runners in the field, total of 22 teams and now 50 individuals. 5 from each region, also 5 at-large individuals nationally.
And Rich, for the benefit of the audience at home and also for here, the scoring of this, and there are individuals who are running for this individual championship, and we'll get some in-race updates on the team scoring, and they'll pull those individuals out as it relates to adding up the overall team scores for the teams in the race.
Right, so the scores we'll see on our screen at the 1 mile marker can be definitely the actual team scores. They've already took out any of those individuals, factoring also, of course, the displacers. Top 5 scoring, of course, in cross country, and we'll see because, again, it's always interesting to see what happens. And we see a couple of kids actually went down here toward the tail end of our lead pack of our pack overall. Pretty quickly, pretty dense up front. I can say I'm not really too surprised. That's Matt Strongio out of California on the far right, your leader. Right there, Nico Young on his shoulder.
Well, the first Newbury Park jersey to spring out of that pack was not Nico Young or Jace Ashbrenner. Their top two. I don't actually know which Newbury Park guy that is, but he's now fading back through the pack.
And Nico Young there in 3:58 goes over the first of the timing laps as we go through our early stages of this 5-kilometer race at the Glendoveer course, and he's already put a little bit of room making an early statement here in this race where he comes in as one of the favorites, 4th in the edition of NXN a year ago, and that great race with Cole Sprout at Arcadia on the track to break the meet record in the 3,200 meters back in April.
Frankly, this is pretty surprising to me to see him go so aggressively so early. I was wondering how he would handle being the favorite in this race, and it has seemed that he wants to challenge anyone to go with him. His coach obviously said he's maybe held back a little bit at the state meet when he nearly broke German Fernandez's course record. You never know how true that is, but it seems pretty clear that they believe it's true because he's going hard.
Yeah, he's an individual that they really want to assure a fast, early pace. He would prefer to go ahead and have somebody else do the work and work off of them. But since it's not happening, he's the kind of kid he will then go ahead and make the move and take the race, create the pace.
Great shot there head on of the crew as they come down into this area with Nico Young in the lead.
And we see Methner and Shoppy just behind him. Methner now moving into second. And those two kind of have to make a decision here. Do they want to put in that move to get up with Nico Young, or do they want to hope that they can measure their effort better and catch him later in the race? Looks like they've decided they're going to drag the pack up to him.
So Young there in front as they pass through the first kilometer of this race. Time to check in with another member of our broadcast team, Colleen Quigley, who's out on the course. Colleen?
Gator, we have followed Nico Young, who is wasting absolutely no time. We are just 1K into the course. He's already got a good-sized gap here, and so he's stringing out the race a little bit, which makes it really exciting. We got a lot of mud puddles out here. I'm sure you guys expected that, but
so
it is super wet.
3.5 minutes into this boys' race. So much of the drama in this race is not what Nico Young is doing at the front, but where all the teams are now finding their scoring runners in the back of this pack. And again, because there's so many top individuals, you really have to rethink how you approach this race on the team side, because it could be that you could be 30 or 40th in the group but still be in a very good position as it relates to team scoring.
Absolutely, and from a pure strategy perspective, it's easier to be at the front because you can see everyone you're racing. You just try to stay in the lead pack as long as you can. Back in the middle of the pack, you really have to manage your effort well, and you have to know that every place, back in the dense, or every few seconds back in that dense part of the pack could be 3 or 4 points.
Look
right
at Josh
here,
Methner.
right here, poise is going to be so key in this race because coaches talk about the fact of, you got to be aware of the individuals around you, so forth, that you're going to be toward the back. But right now, with this pace going out so hard, these kids in the middle and the back are going to feel even more uncomfortable, and that's going to be desperation to start setting in. So it'll be very interesting. Poise will be key.
And this is way more strung out than we've ever seen here in the boys' race at the beginning. I'm not sure Josh Methner would prefer to be 20 meters down on Nico Young, but I do think he prefers a fast race. We'll see if having that rabbit out in front of him helps him, or if he's already overextending himself trying to keep up with Nico Young.
Ryan Choppy is also in that group along with 224. That's Caleb Brown, also out of the Midwest region. And Cole Sprout, our top returning finisher from a year ago where he finished third, is also in that group as well.
And that gap just keeps growing.
Just about 3 seconds there for Young over Methner. And the big names in front, 4 of the big ones right here. Strangio in 6th. So 5 of the top 6 in our pre-meet projections are right there. You mentioned Brown. You see Ashburn, the number 2 runner for Newbury Park, right there in the top 12. You see our team scores.
Yeah, at that first split, Newbury Park with the overall lead, but very close with Draper out of the Southwest region, and Temecula, who was also part of our early narrative as we went through the previews of the team, also out of the California region, and Wheaton South, Rhode Island, also in the top 5, and the defending champion 2 times over, Purcellville, currently in 6th position. As you see the current leaders at 1 mile, and you see the current leader at 1 mile. It's been a very impressive early run here for Nico Young.
Yeah, he is absolutely going for it, and I think this is really just going to build the tension for the last half of the race. Obviously, if there was a kid that we thought could run away from the field, he would be the one. I mean, when you run 8:40 for 2 miles, it's pretty brisk. It's pretty good. But there is a great field behind him, and if he has misjudged this at all, there are some guys who can be poised to take advantage.
His workouts have been off the charts this year as they were in the springtime. Right now, this year, he had a chance to take down some all-time marks on particular courses. They actually held him back. It's all been about coming ready to dominate at nationals. And right now, against this great field, he's beginning to show that. But I mean, really, in a sense, they, as Coach said, we're not about records, we're about a championship. And we're trying to see if they can pull it off individually and team-wise here today.
Well, they can't be starting with more than 3 or 4 points out of their first 2 guys. So that's helpful if you want to score as few points as possible.
So Nico Young of Newbury Park in the lead here, 7+ minutes into this boys race, the 2019 Nike Cross Nationals. And of course the other storyline for Nico is he will also contribute to the team fortunes of Newbury Park in this overall team race, but the gap continues. He had about 3 seconds on the group that included Methner and Choppy, and those guys are now climbing that hill as they work their way down towards the part of the area where, part of the racing here is not just the racers in the field of play, but also the spectators who are trying to go back and forth to get a couple of views of the different parts of the course and cheer them on.
So it looks like Methner and Choppy they've gapped that big pack behind them who's being led by E.J. Holland. I think Choppy would maybe be the one you would expect to have. If either of them are going to be saving a big move, he'd be the one you'd expect based on past history. But I think really at this point, it's Nico Young's race to lose. He has to have misjudged this a little bit for either of these 2 guys to have a chance to come back and get him.
So Josh Methner there in second. And Choppy.
And this part of the course is really tough because it's just a slight drag uphill after you did those 2 big steep uphills, and you've got so far to go because they're going to come right back through this area without a K to go.
He's doubled his margin now. He's about 7 seconds ahead of Josh Methner, currently in second. Methner and Choppy. Big surprise there, currently in 5th. That is 4th. That's Anthony Grover out of California. Running the race of his life. Matt Strangio in the top 8 as well.
And you see Cole Sprout in between Holland and Strangio there.
So a little less than 2K to go now. E.J. Holland up there as well. The product out of Southern Oregon. Northwest Individual Qualifier, state champion here in the state of Oregon, has said all along he's really set up his cross-country season to be ready for this particular race, and is hoping that the leaders ahead of him come back to him shortly. But right now it is Nico Young still with the lead. He has advantaged himself now from 3 seconds at the 1 mile mark to now 8 seconds as they go over the 2 mile timing mats with Methner in second, Shoppy, then Holland. That is your top 4.
And we touted Shoppy's tendency to negative split his races. I think we may have cursed him because Methner now is the one who's moving away into solo second as E.J. Holland and Grover look like they're moving quite well.
Well, I'm struck, too, by watching Nico. I mean, he looks as though he's in the final stages of the race, but he just continues to grind out the kilometers here and trying to put more and more space on himself and the rest of this star-studded field.
Well, it's pretty clear that Nico's engine is still ahead of where his body is at, and when those two things finally meet up, it's going to be a scary thing.
Yeah, often in his big races, he does not look pretty in a sense. In that sense, his biomechanics are not quite smooth. He is so fit, it doesn't matter.
So top 20 will reach All-American status here, so very much the race continues. As we look back to the front of the field, Josh Methner now a little bit separated from the rest of the field. E.J. Holland has now moved into third, and that's changed from just when they went over the 2 mile mat. And Nico takes a look over his left shoulder, just trying to gauge here a couple of nice opportunities on the latter part of this race course where he can get a sense of where the rest of the field is behind him as he makes the turn. And look at that gap he has now on the rest of the field. And the 2 mile split also gives us an update on the team scores, and not only is Nico Young currently leading on the individual side, but Newbury Park is leading the team scoring ahead of Draper, Temecula, St. Charles, and Rhode Island. That is your top 5 at this point. The defending champions from Purcellville not in the top 10. They are currently 11th with a little less than a mile to go. And another bit of collision, and the conditions on this course certainly deteriorating as they continue to run through the latter stages of the race, and those slips can matter in the team race.
I think part of the challenge here right now, because this pace is so fast, these kids are so worn out, their coordination is beginning to slip a little bit, so any sort of slickness on that course, and they're going down.
Well, we saw Grover there fall, but now he's back up and back into third. I think we saw Easton Allred from Draper, whose team is in the top 3, fall along that corner. Clearly that corner is pretty slick, and I think it's more a matter of the topsoil there really being slick.
That's a good race for the positions 2 through 5. But right now in the front, Nico Young making a statement here at Glendoveer Golf Course as he continues to pull away from the rest of the field.
You know, as dominant as he's been this year, as impressive, this is still hard to believe that against this field, he is right now pulling away this impressively.
We have never seen a boy in this race take it from the gun like this. We've seen some big wins with some big surges in the second half, but we've never seen a guy just go straight to the front and say, either come with me or go home. And I think Methner is running really, really well in second place because he's essentially been on his own nearly the entire time. Shoppy was with him for the first half, but there is still a pretty big pack. I think that's Caleb Brown there with E.J. Holland and Sprout, who are looking to chase him down for second.
And there is Caleb Brown out of the Midwest region. As we're less than a couple of minutes away from the finish here as they go over another timing mat, though that was for the 2 miles, so that will not be official timing mat for any of these racers at this point. Holland and Cole Sprout running side by side.
So we're looking at Caleb Brown, who's in third. We have Methner in second, and then, of course, up front, Nico Young, the man of the moment.
And some of these kids that are right here in this trail pack are running probably the race of their lives, so they're probably in disbelief that they're actually as far behind as someone like Nico Young at this point in time, and we actually see Nico now coming up toward the terraces.
He'll come over that second rise. The drum corps will greet him, as well as the fans that have gathered here as he comes into view of the finish line.
Really just an incredible run. I mean, he was obviously the favorite, but to do it in this fashion, it's unprecedented in my book.
Incredible.
As he comes into the final few strides in a race that brought together the deepest field of individuals in the country in 2019, Nico Young will reign supreme as Nike Cross Nationals champion.
And now we see the big moves coming up right here. Big moves.
Huge pack trying to hunt down Methner, but I think he's going to hang on for second with a really, really great race.
So Methner will come in second, and then a very large group behind him, led by Caleb Brown with a very good performance in finishing in third. Strangio comes up for fourth. Connor Olson out of Littleton will round out the top five. E.J. Holland out of the Northwest region finishing in sixth.
And I think we just saw
Jace Ashbender.
Yeah, Jace Ashbender. I think he's probably fourth in the team score. So that's a great start for Newbury Park in their hopes to take home 2 titles today.
And right now, just looking right here, you can see an Obima coming into that finish line. I mean, just look at that sea of humanity coming right in, and that's where your team champion is going to be decided right here.
We had at least 2 Draper runners through, so I don't think any team has 3 yet, but I might have missed Temecula.
Newbury Park has 3 in.
Oh, but there's a whole host of Temecula guys across the line now, so it's going to be very tight for this team title.
And we will, of course, hold the team scores until the award ceremony, so we can reveal the winners in front of the crowd here gathered at the finish line. But that sea of humanity continues to stream in here.
Newbury Park's real one liability was their 5th guy, who was behind the 7th guy from Temecula in the state meet merge. They did have their 5 was pretty close to their 4. So the question is, did the 5 run great, or was the 4 a little bit off?
They're actually very good through 5, but they did have 1 kid off at the state meet. If they're all on, they're tough to beat because their 3 and their 4 have made improvements in the last few weeks.
Well, we expected it to be a very competitive battle for the team competition, as we'll await for the last of the competitors to come across the line. And a great shot of the steam rising here from the finish line. We're going to let Chris Derrick get off his headset and head down to try to catch up with some of these teams here as they try to reconvene with each other and, again, celebrate what was a phenomenal race here on the boys' side and a team race that probably wasn't decided until the very last runner came across the line for the respective top teams. Again, our reigning champions from Purcellville, and perhaps a new champion to be crowned here in 2019 as the field has now come across. And Rich, this was a race that has more a reflection of what we're going to probably talk about when we preview the girls' race, because last year we saw Caitlin Toohey kind of do a version of what we saw Nico Young do this year, which is if you're going to try to beat me, you're going to have to come catch me, and nobody could.
Right, and she mentioned last year that it was much more aggressive than she wanted to in hindsight. Nico Young, I don't think he actually, in his frame of mind, there was never any second guessing. He was going to go after it, and no one had an answer. And again, the different combination, different styles of teams. Newbury Park, one of the contenders. They have the great 1-2. Very solid 3-4-5, but that 1-2 puts them in position. You have Draper. They've had an outstanding top 4. They're trying to go ahead and close that gap to their number 5. I mentioned Purcellville, defending champions. They only have 2 kids back, but coming in, they really felt that they were dialed in just as well as in past years. It was more just a mental challenge. And, of course, Temecula, so close last year. A lot of the key kids back this year on a mission to try and get in that top spot on the podium. in this kind of a setup with a majority of the top teams having a really good 1 or a 1-2, for those teams that typically can pack it in closely and be in the middle of the pack, this wasn't their day today. There are just too many good teams that this year did have those front runners to get that scoring rolling.
All right, well, let's go down to the finish line area where we'll start to hear from some of the athletes that just completed that course. Colleen Quigley, who do you got with us?
Hey, we got the Woodlands out here. How'd it go out there, guys? Who wants to talk? I'll talk. All right, how'd it go?
All right, it was pretty good, but I don't think we get any weather like this in the south. So it was definitely something new, something different. We don't got a lot of hills in Texas, and it shows. This course is definitely something challenging. I think it challenges everyone out here, and it really pushes everyone to be the best. Nike does a great job setting this up, and we're just happy to come out here.
Yeah, who wants to comment on the whole experience from the weekend? I mean, this is pretty amazing. You guys get treated like rock stars for 3 days. What was that like?
It's just crazy, you know. I'm just a sophomore on the team going up here. I didn't even run my state meet last year, and just, you know, you hear all these things about this meet and how crazy it is, and you're expecting it, but there's nothing that can describe it unless you go to it. Just from the gear up to the experience coming here, and from the gun to the finish, it's an experience, and there's nothing like it. There's no words.
It's pouring down rain down here, but I feel like that's all part of the experience, right? This is what you came here for. You're drenched, you're muddy, it's insane, but it's all part of the NXN experience. Anything you guys want to say to friends or family back home?
So we have a bunch of other guys run the community race, and I'd say just keep on watching and let's watch our guys win.
All right, awesome job. Well, congrats, Woodlands. Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much, Colleen. As, the conditions here, not something that you're used to if you come from different parts of the country. He talked about the experience here, and I think this is the culmination of a great experience that they have all week, but it's the whole week about being around elite athletes and having a chance to hear from great coaches. And Chris Derrick is down there with another group that's a bit more local, but also enjoyed the experience here at Glendevere as well.
I weirdly happened to find the Portland boys after the race. Aiden, we're a long way from when I didn't want to let you into the top group in middle school because I thought you were goofing off too much at practice. Tell us about the journey to get here.
It was a great one. I know Jack and Ryan, going to middle school with them, they helped me get into a really good training routine, and going to high school, going into Jesuit has a great cross-country program. It's been a great journey with all these guys. Getting here now, it's really fun to do this with them.
And now, Jack, your dad coached here many times. He may love this event possibly more than his family. It's a toss-up to me. What does it feel like to have watched him come here so often when you were young, and now to be here yourself?
It's really cool because when I was a kid, it always seemed like it was such a foreign place and such a hard thing to get to, and it is. But then as we started getting in the mindset, like we're going to set our goals to make NXN and perform there, it became closer and closer, and we finally made it with this group of really good guys, and it's really cool to be here.
Awesome. And Ryan, I think you had something you wanted to say about the great support you guys have had out here.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The home crowd is incredible. We got a bunch of people from our school to come out here. I saw a lot of signs, heard a lot of people. Yeah, there's people over there, right there. Then, it was just incredible. Having them all cheer so loud. I could hear them on, like, every point of the course. I always started sounding like, come on, Jesuit, come on, Portland. It's just an incredible experience.
Awesome. Well, it's great to see you guys here. Congrats on an awesome season, and maybe we'll see some of you back next year. All right, we're going back up to Paul and Rich. Rich,
individual results?
Yeah, he said.
All right, can everybody hear me now? Yeah, the mic is on. We're ready with our top three individuals. I'm just looking for my trophy presenter.
Nope.
Just waiting for Evan Jagger to join us. All right. Galen Rupp is arriving to the stage here momentarily. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the stage, Galen Rupp. All right, we're here to recognize our top 3 individual finishers. And Galen will give us the benefit of handing out the trophies here, which I believe are right behind him. Let's first congratulate in third place, Caleb Brown. Our 2019 NXN runner-up this year, Josh Methner. Apparently the entire Midwest has come to cheer Josh on. And a gutsy move at the front of this race, and he comes away our 2019 NXN champion. Please congratulate Nico Young. All right, I'm going to step in and talk with our winner here real briefly. Nico, that was a bold move at the front. Looked like you were running the final 50 meters the entire 5K. Was that the plan all along?
The plan was just to feel the race out and kind of go from there. I didn't really expect to take the lead, but I just kind of got a good start, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah, but you've been fit all year. Your engine's been running. As you look back on this entire cross-country season, could you have written it any better?
I definitely couldn't have. It's the best that it could have been, yeah.
And, it's great to have an individual accomplishment, but now you're going to be waiting with the rest of your teammates. What are your thoughts about that team race?
I don't know, what the results are yet, but, I'm sure it was great.
All right. Yeah. Well, we're still working on making sure that our scoring is right, so the team competition trophy will be here momentarily. In the meantime, congratulate our top 3 finishers in the boys race. And I'm going to throw it back to Colleen Quigley, who's with another squad. Colleen?
Hey guys, I'm here with Stevens Point from Wisconsin. It is their first time at NXN. They're super pumped to be here, and we were just talking about the discussion, snow versus rain, and which one's worse, which one's better for racing. Can you share some insight on that?
I think rain's better because snow is just so much colder.
And it was snowing at your regional meet, is that right?
Yeah, hard. It was freezing.
Woo, all right. So any slip slides out there? Maybe,
right when the gun went off, I fell on the ground, so that was pretty scary.
Not the best start to the race. So how'd you handle that? You were on the ground, everyone's running. What'd you do?
I got back up and I started running.
There you go, nice. All right, so you guys' first time out here at NXN, huge deal. Really quick, best part of the week, what have you guys enjoyed the most?
Playing 2K, definitely.
All right, anybody else?
I really liked eating dinner with the professional athletes, and ours was Mo. So.
Amazing. Well, we're so glad you guys are here. Congratulations. Hope to see you again next year.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome job.
Thanks very much, Colleen. Still waiting for the team scores, but as I bring Chris Derrick and Rich Gonzalez back into this, I think as the time continues, that just is a reflection of maybe how close this race really was.
Definitely. Our chief timing going ahead and going through every single finisher just to make sure, because it was so tight. So tight throughout, so definitely he's going ahead and reviewing every single one. And it looked like on our last in-race split at 2 miles, we saw the top 2 teams within 10 points. We saw 4 within 20, I believe. So definitely a lot of changing. And we saw at the finish, once Nico crossed in the lead, we saw a lot of position changing in positions from about maybe 25 to about 80. Now, several of those were individuals, non-team scorers. So we'll see what shakes out.
And what I think that tight scoring tells you is that a lot of teams ran well enough to deserve the win today, which is what you love to see. You love to see teams bring their best, bring their A game to face off at this championship. And I think, always there are going to be things you don't expect, people that have off days. That's just the sport. But I think we saw a lot of our top teams really bring out their best performances of the year.
Well, the crowd eagerly anticipating what is to come here, which is the awards for the top 3 teams. And meantime, let's check in with Colleen Quigley again.
Hey guys, I'm here with Wheaton South. This is the toughest part after the race. They've all crossed the finish line, they did their job, and now they have to wait. And it's the anticipation of the team scores, finding out how they did. It's a big surprise for everyone. So how are you guys feeling? A little nervous? Waiting to hear the scores?
Yeah, we don't quite know exactly where we finished. Obviously, nothing's been announced yet. We felt like we were pretty packed up well throughout the race, and we kind of kept moving up. We think we were somewhere in the range of where we needed to be, but obviously we got to wait until they announce the scores to find out for sure.
Yeah, wait to find out. Did you guys see each other out there at all? Was there, working together, any, even talking or?
I was just with some of my teammates just throughout the mile and just stuck in the pack and stayed together, and we have 5 seniors on this team right now, so what a great way to go out in this awesome course.
And pack running is really our strength. That's our thing. We work on it, train with it. We run together in practice, and we run together in meets. And so there was a lot of working together, and a lot of people said we saw each other.
Amazing. Yeah, I feel like when you're doing that as a team, it really gives you guys strength to see each other, and it makes it feel like just like you were in practice every day, feeding off each other and getting energy off each other. Did you feel like that too?
Yeah, for sure. I think all the practice really pays off throughout all the years and all the hard miles. So I think that all paid off today.
Yeah, and so 5 seniors, what are you guys going to do after this to kind of commemorate amazing run together, an amazing time? What's the big send-off?
We got some donuts in our team camp.
All right, where did you get your donuts from?
Voodoo.
All right, great Portland Classic. Well, we're cheering for you guys, fingers crossed. Hope those results come out the way that you want. Wheaton South.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Colleen. Yeah, the energy level and the nervous level continues to escalate with every minute here that the timing shaft does its job.
Definitely. We talked about coming in, the fact that the individuals, the greatest field we've had individually, of the top 18 finishers today in that race, 15 of them were individuals. Only 3 were team scorers. So definitely we saw just the strength of the individual field in that race right there. Only 3 team scores in the top 18.
And a big run in 5th from Connor Olson, who I believe he was he 10th here last year? Or was he maybe 10th in the team score for Littleton, but he was only 4th at the region. So a really, really great run here to take 5th at Nationals.
Well, another team that is eagerly awaiting word of whether they will be brought to the stage as part of the top 3 is Draper. They had a good run today, and Colleen's going to check in with them now.
Hey, I'm out here with Draper. We have some of these kind of marathon-inspired spacesuits going on out here for these guys. They are shivering. We've, 10 minutes since the finish of the race now. They're soaking wet and freezing cold. So got some chattering teeth. How'd it go out there?
It hurt a ton, but I did my best, so yeah.
That's all you can ask for. Any of you guys have post-race thoughts?
That was crazy.
Anyone slipping and sliding? I've heard a couple guys kind of at least touch the ground with hands and were recovered quickly. Did you guys find it was really muddy and slippery out there? You took a slide over here.
Yeah, I think I gained some time right about back there. I just slid down the hill, didn't have to use the legs too much. So.
You think it was advantageous, maybe to save you some energy?
Oh, yeah. It was good stuff for sure. It helped out.
All right, any seniors on the team who want to talk about, your last race at NXN?
Yeah, it's fun. This is our last one. It's kind of a fun way to go out, for sure.
Amazing. Yeah. Any surprises out there today? I mean, obviously the weather played a huge toll in conditions, but were you surprised by any parts of the course?
not the course, just the weather and like different puddles that we didn't see yesterday. It was kind of fun running through those, but just the mud and all that kind of factor.
Awesome. Anything you guys wanted to say to any folks at home, other teammates that didn't make it, family, friends, any messages to those at home?
Shout out to the Zooming guys, the best Strava club. Join the Zooming guys, please.
The Zoomy guys. All right. Awesome. Well, thanks, Draver. Hope the results come out the way that you'd like. Congratulations.
Good look at the crowd here waiting for the results, just as we are, and we're getting very close to bringing our top 3 teams here to stage, so bear with us momentarily.
There's a very cryptic sign there. Isaac Teeples is the gingerbread man? What does that mean?
Great testament to not only the athletes being patient, but the crowd being patient here as well. And we still got one more race to go, which is the girls' race, and rain has definitely resumed.
Indeed.
And the conditions on this course, usually it's not as easy to run on that second race, and then what will be the most entertaining race probably by the end of this day will be that community race, because that will just be one trashed golf course by the time that race is over.
And I can't imagine there are a lot of spikes in the community race, so that could be pretty slick. And I wonder though, Paul, are you trying to will the crowd to be patient by complimenting on their patience? They might start bringing their pitchforks for us soon if we don't get them those results.
I'm not in the timing tent. I know they're just trying to do what, and the challenge here obviously is to pull those individual racers out of it. So I think it's just making sure, and we're sensing that it's obviously a very close finish. So we want to make sure that the results are right.
Indeed.
All right. Well, Colleen, you've been talking to all the athletes. There are some other supporters here as well. You're with one of them now, right?
Yeah, I've got a parent from Easton. He's a student at Draper. Can you tell us anything about your son from this season?
I'm sorry, I missed your question.
Can you just share us anything about your son from this season, from what he's experienced before this meet?
Yeah, so this is his 3rd year. He loves coming here. It's super fun for him. He struggled with some injuries this year, which has been a challenge, but every experience has been great, and hopefully his team pulled off a top 3 win. We'll see.
Fingers crossed. So multi-talented kid you've got here, right? Besides runner, he might be some type of author?
Yes, he wrote his own book, and I sadly didn't even review the book until he sent it to the publisher, and I was very proud of it. He did a fantastic job.
He didn't even ask for your advice.
No, he didn't.
Typical high school boy.
Exactly. He didn't want us to read it, but he did a great job.
So what is the book about?
Tips and tricks for teenage success.
Amazing. Did he have it last year at NXN?
He did, yes.
Okay, I definitely saw this book. I think he was passing it around. Well, that's super unique. I think it's important to go into college knowing that you'll have more than one talent, more than one thing that you can tackle, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a great kid, so it's great to have him, so thank you.
And he's a senior, right?
He is a senior, yes.
Where is he going next year?
So next year he signed with BYU, and he's excited to run for them.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, and congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Colleen. We are now getting to that moment here. We were waiting for a couple of missing athletes from a couple of the squads. So give us just 1 second here, and then we'll bring the top 3 teams to the stage.
Paul, I think it was interesting the way the weather affected the race. We've had rainier years in the past, throughout the whole week. I think perhaps because it was so dry, and then we just got rain at the last second there, the course seemed a bit slipperier than it's been in years past. I don't think we've ever seen as many kids fall as we did in that boys' race.
So again, for those of you watching on the webcast, just waiting for the last couple of athletes to return here to the finish line area. We'll bring the top 3 onto the stage and then present our top 3 trophies here for the boys race in the Nike Cross Nationals. Rather soothing just listening to the rain. It's like an episode of Sunday Morning.
I prefer your dulcet tones.
Ah, bless your heart. Well, the good news for Colleen Quigley, she gets to be under the tent for the girls' race. And Chris Derrick's reality is about to set in.
I'll be making a pit stop by one of those space heaters over there before I get on that cart.
Well, it's great to have some of the elite athletes out here as well to support these athletes. Been involved in all the festivities throughout the week. The athletes competing here at Nike Cross Nationals. You had a chance to go out and run with some of the teams, have dinner with them. What kind of some of the questions that you get from these folks?
Oh, they're all over the map, from, people who are super dialed into the high level of the sport, and some people are like, so you get paid to do this? But it's always an awesome experience to be with the high school kids, to feel the energy. It's a weekend that is both tiring because we're doing a lot of stuff, and energizing because of just the enthusiasm and the way it reminds the elite athletes of what they were like when they were in high school. Grant Fisher, our new teammate in Bowerman Track Club, had a nice comment the other day. He said, 5 years ago I was looking up to people I'm on the team with now, which I thought was both inspiring and also a sick burn on me for being old.
All right, we're going to bring them up in alphabetical order. Half the battle for me is to remember my ABCs now. Let's bring up Draper. Then we're going to bring up Newberry Park. And our last squad, Temecula. $35 points separating first through fourth place. 14 points separating these three squads for the NXN title. And do I have Galen back up here for trophies, or do I have Evan? Who's my trophy presenter? Evan's coming. Evan has come to join us. Healthy again and ready to do his job. Everyone, Evan Jagger coming up here in the front. Why don't you, and Evan, they're right here. All right. So we'll first present our third place trophy with 142 points, Draper. Just 4 points separating first and second. Our 2019 NXN runners-up with 132 points, Temecula. And congratulations to our 2019 NXN champions, Newbury Park. All right, for gosh sakes, don't drop that trophy. Well, Coach, we heard from Nico, and now let's hear from you on behalf of these very cold boys. This was quite a day for you guys.
It was an absolutely great day. You know, I got to say, hats off to Temecula, Great Oak. Those guys, they push us all season, and it honestly could have gone either way. It was just a little bit of luck today, and our season started in June. These guys made a sacrifice. I can't even say what these guys sacrificed to get this today, and it's, as a coach, it's so unbelievable to see this happen. I'm so happy.
And what a combination of Nico's performance up in front. But this really is a sport about team, and it's still great to share both that individual moment, but the team gets to celebrate as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I think someone asked him up on stage, I said, has this been that dream season? And he said yes. And in the back of my head, I said it'd be a dream season if we win as a team. And Nico's the type of guy that he would give up that title today individually for the team. And it just feels so great as their coach. It's like, I don't know. People say I never have a loss for words, but I have a loss for words right now. It's unbelievable.
All right, well, you guys go get this team warm. Congratulations to our 2019 NXN team champions, Newbury Park. Well, what a day for Nico Young and Newbury Park, in just 4 points separating the top two teams at NXN in 2019. Newbury Park gets the individual champion in Nico Young, and they get the team champion in Newbury Park. Temecula second and Draper third. And that little extra weight as we now look at the official results. You see the 35 points separating first through fourth, and just 4 points separating the top two schools. The previous champion, Purcellville, does finish in the top 10 in their 2019 performance. But what a day for Newbury Park, Rich.
Oh, no, it definitely was. I mean, we saw the fact that they were continually improving at the middle positions. We knew what they could do up front with their 1-2. Both delivered. Nico Young, Jace Ashbrenner. The key figure to be probably Colin Solomon, their number 3 man. He's been coming along nicely the last few weeks. He's been coming from an outstanding number 3 to an outstanding runner, period, in his own right.
And he was actually ahead of Temecula's number 1 runner by 1 place in the team score. But then Temecula managed to put their entire top 5 in between